does all this water come from? And sure, just think, we're fish, and we're asking, what's the precipitation over the Rocky Mountains that makes the snow? It's a very, very complicated question. But the other answer to it is, yes, there is no battery out there in space. I know NASA put out a slide one time, said that there needed to be a 30,000 volt battery simply to put the Birkeland current from the sun into the Earth. The Earth's a pretty tiny planet compared to Jupiter and Saturn. So just if it's 30,000 volts to put it into the Earth, it must be a gazillion volts to put it into Jupiter. There's no battery out there. It's the dynamo effect. I hate that word, but that's what astronomers use. Oh, there was a dynamo that did this. Dynamo is the name of the Russian soccer team, as far as I know. The real genesis of the word dynamo was back in the days when it was a DC generator. And if it generates, the inherent generation that occurs inside the dynamo is AC. And then there's a commutator and slip rings and all that sort of thing that makes it sort of constant when it comes out. So that's a dynamo. What they really mean is induction. And that is, as I said, I think the other day, that if in any geometry you can kludge up, you arrange for relative motion to occur between a conductor and a magnetic field, there will be current induced in that conductor. The conductor might be a wire, might be a plasma. The wire may be moving and the magnetic field static or reverse. So that's where it all comes from. Everything in space is in motion. And parenthetically, I'll add as a little advertisement, it spins too. Where does the spin come from? From the Big Bang? Hell no. Anything that goes out, this way, it doesn't go out that way, typically, unless there's some anomaly in there. I think the answer to your question is, where does it come from? It comes from induction. In fact, that there's moving magnetic fields and plasmas out there. And that's another thing that astronomers, one more thing, then I'll shut up, that astronomers have been saying for decades, and that is that plasmas are frozen into magnetic fields. And somebody alluded to that, I think it was Wal or somebody. That's from one of Maxwell's equations, that the dB dt, if there is no E field allowed, the curl of E is equal to minus dB dt plus whatever. If the electric field itself is zero, then its curl is zero, and therefore dB dt must be zero. Okay? But I'm sorry, Sapphire has proven that we can get 8,000 volts per meter of electric field inside a plasma. And so plasma is not frozen into an electric field, or vice versa. The electric field frozen into plasma. And so, yes, under certain circumstances. But generally, that's a phony argument. And so induction does occur, and where does all this motion come from? God knows. I mean, that's the way the universe works. Everything's moving with respect to everything else, and everything's spinning and twisting, and when they intersect, that's where it comes from. Sorry to be so long-winded.
You, as a sort of bystander, I've been watching the suspicious observers every day with great fascination, and Ben Davidson talks about the Earth facing quiet, which one can see quite easily in the films from the satellites.
You mean the sun being quiet, becoming
the solar
quiet
Earth
sun.
facing quiet.
Yeah.
So the sunspots are active when they're not facing Earth, and then they quieten down as they face Earth, and then they become very active again as they're moving away from Earth. I wondered if you could have an electric universe explanation for that.
The idea, I've heard Ben talk many, many times, and I agree with most of what he says. But first of all, rest easy. Coronal holes are just places where, in the bottom of the corona, over the surface of the sun's photosphere, where there are no disturbances, no sunspots, no coronal mass ejections. So what you've got, in my mind, is under a coronal hole is the normal sun. Where the whoopee business starts is when you start to get a sunspot. And then you've got a break in the dam there. There is no photospheric structure holding back a flood of ions that want to come out. So it seems to me if Ben wants to get excited about something, it should be over the slow solar wind, which is 3 times as voluminous as the fast solar wind. So it's kind of like, would you rather be hit by a mosquito or a trailer truck? The mosquito goes fast, but he doesn't do very much. That's my analogy. It's not really applicable. But, electric fields and magnetic fields. And you're absolutely right. It's a circularity. There's a circular argument there.
Yeah.
But which came first? I don't know. Did it snow on top of the Rockies before the Mississippi River? Or
And where it isn't.
We have, that's just an assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if Helton Up is right that we're part of something of unknown age and unknown extent, then we cannot treat it as a closed system. All we can say is that within the visible universe, we measure intergalactic magnetic fields, which were a surprise. Interstellar magnetic fields, that was a surprise. It shouldn't be.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
okay, thanks very much.